to magnify the name of our God, for he alone is worthy of the glory. He alone is worthy of the honor. We want his presence. We want his glory. And that same glory that's in this room can meet you right where you are. Come on, let's lift it together. Sing, let your glory fall. Glory fall. Sing, let your power fall. Power fall. Like on the day of Pentecost. We need your fire. We want revival. Sing, let your fire fall. Let it fall, oh God. Let your fire fall. Come on, once you have it, we want you to join in and sing it with us. Sing, let your fire fall. Glory fall. Let your power fall. Come on, declare and say, like on the day of Pentecost. We need your fire. We want revival. Say, let your fire fall. Sing, fire fall. Let the oil flow. Let heaven come down to earth. Come on, declare it. Somebody say, we won't be satisfied with anything else. We need your fire. We want revival. Sing, let your fire fall. Somebody shout it again. Fire fall. Let the oil flow. Let heaven come down to earth. Yes, we won't be satisfied with anything else. We need your fire. We want revival. We need your fire. We want revival. We need your fire. We want revival. Say, let your fire fall. We want your glory. And we want your power. And we want your presence. And nothing else. Nothing else. We want your glory. Can you declare that? We want your power. We want your presence. Come on, say it. And nothing else. Nothing else. We want your glory. We want your power. Yes, we want your presence. Come on, sing it, say. And nothing else. Nothing else. We want your glory. Yes, we want
Hey, I'm Charles Jenkins. Welcome to Bible study. I'm so honored to be hanging out with you for the next few moments, and I'm super grateful to my best friend in the world, Pastor Craig L. Oliver, Bishop Craig L. Oliver, for having me as I'm excited to talk to you as I know we've been talking through what it means to be rooted and flourishing. But he's asked me to talk about what it means to be rooted and flourishing within the context of a book that I've written called Seasons. And I want to work through a handful of concepts and ideas. So I want to invite you to grab a piece of paper, a pen. If you're old school, if you're new school, get your phone, your iPad, whatever you use to take notes. And I'm excited to maximize our time together. And speaking of maximizing our time, I want to talk about what it means to reclaim my time, reclaiming my time. Congresswoman Maxine Waters was sitting in a hearing and she was addressing Secretary Mnuchin, I believe his name is, and he was speaking, and seemingly he was taking up time that was allotted for her. And so you see her in this hearing, she starts saying, reclaiming my time, reclaiming my time, reclaiming my time, reclaiming my time. And then the chair that was governing the meeting said that the time belongs to the gentlewoman from California. And then she proceeds to maximize her time. And so as we think about that context and that concept, there are so many thoughts around what it means to be rooted and flourishing that's connected to reclaiming your time, getting it back, ascertaining it, getting it under control, making sure that your time and what happens with your time is not under the control of someone who may not understand, may not respect, may not have any interest in what it means for you to be able to be purposeful, productive, progressive, and ultimately prosperous. It's all tied to our time. And so let me reiterate really fast, by definition, rooted, as we frame all of this up in being rooted and flourishing. That word rooted, by definition, it literally means to strengthen one's roots, to strengthen the foundation, right? Roots generally live in an unseen place. So it's underneath the ground, translation, at a place of depth, behind the scenes. It's the things that we do like this, where no one may see us. It's the books we read. It's the homework we do. It's the research we do. It's the study. It's the prayer time. It's the fasting. It's the unseen things that we do to strengthen ourselves internally so that we can see great results externally. It's the stuff we do in private so that we can see great and grand results in public. And so strengthening my roots, being rooted means I'm strengthening, right? So right now, think of our time this way. We're in the gym, right? And so, I've greeted some people over time in the last few years, and people see me and they say, you've been working out. Or you hug somebody and they say, you've been working out. You didn't necessarily see me working out, but you might see the results of that. Or you might feel the results of that coming in contact. In that same regard, if I'm going to be rooted, that means I'm doing things in unseen places that demonstrate results in seen places, right? So I want to lock that in initially. The other important angle of rooted, it actually means to render firm, to render tight. I got it tight. I'm organized. I'm at a place where I am a well-oiled machine, for lack of better words. Things are clicking on all cylinders. Rooted, things are tight, in place, where they're supposed to be, flowing the way they're supposed to flow. But that word rooted also means to fix, which means each one of us, we got to take a second and say, what do we need to fix? Translation. Where do we need to make adjustments? What do we need to do differently? And so if I'm going to be rooted, I want to strengthen my roots. I'm doing things in unseen places for seen results. And then I'm making adjustments along the way, right? Having the ability to pivot, right? Drop that in the chat, pivot. So that's rooted. Here's the other part of that, flourishing. I want to reiterate both of these to frame our time together. Flourishing, it literally means to break out. It means to bud like a flower, right? To see a bud break through the leaves, to break out. It means to blossom, right? It also means to prosper, which means that word prosper, it means to follow through, to do well, and to gain. So when you're talking about flourishing, what you're talking about is following through. You're talking about doing well, doing a good job, and you will ultimately gain. When you follow through, when you do well, you ultimately gain. So when we think about being rooted and flourishing within that context, out of the gate, I want to know that my life is framed in seasons, one giant timeline broken up into several different time periods. And so as I think of my life in that framework, or think of your life like one giant movie broken up into several different scenes. So I want to be clear about what's happening in this scene or this season of my life. I don't want to focus on the last scene as you're watching a movie, right? I want to synthesize the data. I want to know, but I don't want to focus on yesterday when God has given me today. And I want to know that as I zero in on this particular season, I want to manage well and I want to maximize my time, which may mean I need to reclaim my time. Reclaiming my time, I need to get it back under my control and make sure that I'm going to pour everything into this season that God can allow me. So I've been doing a lot with my voice, so this is all I got. So there are two passages that I want to give you as we think about this whole idea of reclaiming my time. Here's the first one, Psalm 90, verse number 12. Psalm 90, verse number 12. Write it down, drop it in the chat. Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. We'll read it again. Teach us to number our days that we might gain a heart of wisdom. That passage simply teaches us that all of us, we have a set number of days, a set amount of time. We have a start date, we have an end date. Before we see the end date, because we don't know that date, there's a dash, right? Start date, that's the date we're born, there's a dash. We're literally living on the dash. So the question is, what are you doing with your dash, right? So that passage simply says we need wisdom. Wisdom is supreme intelligence, supreme understanding, right? We want to use wisdom with the dash, with our time, and say, okay, I normally have a certain amount of time, certain amount of days. What am I going to do with it? And I don't know about you, I'm 40 something. Pastor Oliver's older than me. But once you hit 40, it's like the years like fly by. It's like January, February, June. So because time moves so fast, and then if you look back at last year or the year before, you know, it's like, man, it went so fast. And there are things I wish I should have done or could have done or would have embraced. So as I look back, I can't do anything with that, but I can be intentional about what I have. So I want to get my time under control and know that I only have a certain amount of time. I want to maximize it. And boom, God has given us this new year, and the hourglass is flipped over and the sand is flowing out of the hourglass, right? So I want to make sure as the sand flows out of the hourglass, I can check stuff off that I actually have been able to accomplish so that I experience the fullness of fulfillment. There's an amazing passage that says, work while it's day. The night comes when no man can work. Translation, there are going to be moments when we won't be able to do what we wish we would have done. And so do what you can while you can with everything that God has given you. In Matthew, it says God gave one 5 talents, one 2 talents, one 1 talent. Here's my word for you. Use it all. If God has given you 1, use it. 2, use it. 5, use it. Here's the other passage that I want to give you. Write it down, drop it in the chat. Habakkuk chapter number 2. Habakkuk 2, verses 2 and 3. Habakkuk is praying. He's in a prayer time. And God answers his prayer. He actually says in verse 1 of Habakkuk 2, I'm going to sit myself down, I'm paraphrasing, and see what God has to say to me about my life. There'll be lots of people that have things to say about your time, say about your life, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. But the principal person you want to listen to is God. And God speaks to us through thoughts, ideas, situations. Sometimes he speaks to us through people, but primarily his word. But Habakkuk, when God responds to him, he says this about his life and his time. Write the vision and make it plain on tablets so that he who reads it can run with it. Verse 3 of Habakkuk 2, for the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end, and it will not prove false. It will not lie. Wait for it. It will surely come to pass. It will not delay. When it's supposed to happen, there is no delay. Yeah. Sometimes there are delays, but it's not time yet when it's a delay. But this passage says, and that's so profound, that when it's supposed to happen, it will not delay. Check it out. I want to banter back and forth between these two passages because it's so much that is spoken to all of us. So drop these in the chat. Write these down. I'm reclaiming my time. This is going to be my greatest year ever, no matter what the problems or pains or poisonous people or challenges or trials or tribulations. You can win in the rain. If you are rooted, you can flourish. Write these down. I'm reclaiming my time. I want to, number 1, zero in on the vision for my time. The vision for my time. Drop it in the chat. The vision for my time. Vision, very simple by definition, is the destination I intend to get to. Vision is my goal, my aim, the end result. What do I want to accomplish? So when I think about the vision for my time, in Habakkuk 2, at verse number 2, God says to Habakkuk, you need a plan for your time. You can't just haphazardly, right? And many of you got a plan. It's called a schedule. But intermittently throughout maybe that professional schedule, maybe there's some personal things. Maybe there's some spiritual things, right? Maybe there's some physical things, right? That you want to do, whether that's exercise or whether that's conversations you want to have. You know, I have a list of calls that I look and intend to make, off the top of my head. There, of course, are business calls where it pertains to whatever is professional or pertains to your earning from a business standpoint or building or creating. I have my family calls where I check in on my family members. There are friend calls where I want to touch bases with my friends. You don't want to look up and, something happens or a friend is gone, a friend is down, and you just didn't have in your plan, your vision, that you want to love the people you love. You want to make space for the people in your life, for the people who mean something to your life. And then there are mentoring calls, right? Where there are people I can learn from or people I can teach, right? And all across the board, I think that for me, the last one is, for lack of better words, and I have it written down, but they're help calls, service calls. If that's right, service calls. If I can serve you, help you, advise you, add value to you. But I'm sharing with you, that's in my vision, my plan for my time, right? So you want to think through and create a plan. If not, stuff you wanted to do, you won't do. Stuff you will find yourself wishing you did because you didn't make space, right, in your actual plan. And so I want to invite you to actually, if it's something on your heart, in your head, you want to be in your hand, or you want to be functioning in it, number one, if you're going to reclaim your time, get it under control, what is the vision for your time? If you don't establish the vision, Proverbs 29:18 says, where there is no vision, the people perish. Another translation says, where there is no vision, the people run wild. You'll be all over the place, right? And you will miss opportunities to maximize. Here's number two. You want to think about, and this is why Psalm 90, verse number 12 is powerful. You want to pay attention to the vultures of your time, the vultures of your time. What are the things that can swoop in and consume your time that you don't want to consume your time, right? You're reclaiming your time, so you have control, right? Now, there's sometimes there's spontaneous things that pop in and jump in, right? But what are the vultures, the things that, and think about some of those things that can swoop in and waste your time. I call them time thieves. Drop that in the chat. Time thieves. It could be people, right? It could be conversations, right? Could be habits, bad habits, right? And it doesn't always have to be sinful to be a bad habit, right? It could just be scrolling, over scrolling, right? There's nothing wrong with scrolling through social media, but then sometimes if we clocked how long we were just watching other people's lives, sometimes we could be at a place where it's not just checking in, checking on, getting news, getting information. It could be you just got lost into this black hole of wasted time. And so think through for you, because it's different for everybody, right? What are time thieves? And what are those vultures? I've been on the phone before with people, and I was laughing with a team member earlier about how someone can start a conversation, and it's just not, it's just some random gossip, and it's a waste of time. And so one of my team members was saying, you're good for cutting people off and saying, hey, I don't have time, or changing the conversation, or however you do it. One of my team members was saying, sometimes when you got a plan for your time and you see or sense a vulture, you got to cut that vulture off. Or you got to look at how to redirect or to get out of that, right? So that you can manage well and maximize your time. Drop that in the chat. You want to manage well and you want to maximize your time. And so you got to look at what those vultures are and fight those vultures. So if I'm going to reclaim my time, number one, I want to look at the vision for my time. Number two, the vultures of my time. Number three, and this is very potent, powerful, and important, I want to think about the value of my time. A lot of time, y'all, we treat our time like paper towels, like it's worthless. No, see every second, minute, hour of your time like it's a gold bar, right? And with all of your gifts, your skills, your abilities, your anointing, which means the power that God has given you, the experiences, the knowledge. There's so much you've got to give to the world. No matter what you've been through, you've come through. There's so much you have to offer, so much you have to give. And you're I think it's 1 Peter 2:9. Y'all can double check it and look at it off the top of my head. You're a member of a royal priesthood, a peculiar people, a chosen generation. Translation, you're special, right? Your time is special. And every minute, every second, it's gold. Watch this, not just for you, but for you to give your time to someone, you are giving them gold, a gold bar. God has given you the gold, you are giving them the gold. How do you maximize it? You can get more friends, you can get more conversations, you can get more resources, more money. You can't get more time. You can get more property. Maybe you can't get more time. Unless you're a Hezekiah in the Old Testament and you got a special relationship with God and you pray a prayer that God is interested in answering as God added 15 years to his life. He got more time. But generally speaking, we can't get more time. And so if I'm going to be rooted and flourishing, I got to know the value of my time, and I got to fill each slot. I told you seasons, giant timeline, multiple time periods. What are you slotting in to those time periods? And if the world could see your schedule, if the world could see it, would people be inspired, motivated, be like, I need to get my life together? Would people be, or would it be, pragmatically speaking, I mean, that is the kind of way we want to look. And we know we all aren't perfect, right? But we want to know that there's an intentionality to get it right and to be most successful and significant. Success means doing well. Significance means contributing well. We want to do both and not either or. Last one. Victory. I want to zero in on the vision for my time, the vultures of my time, the value of my time, but I want to zero in the victory I want to get with my time, the victory with my time. And I say it like this: intentionality is at the core and it's the key, right? At this particular moment in time, when you have a new year, we come in fired up, like, woo. Actually, we leave the previous year, every year. We enter a new year saying, this is my year. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be incredible. Then you get into the year and you see some of the same things from the previous year follow you into the next year. and every year is like a blockbuster movie of your life. Every year has its own drama. It has its own funny moments, comedy. It has its own action, oh my God, and it has its own horror every year. I want to, with God's grace, God's power, God's favor, God's courage, which is mental toughness, God's strength. I want to put my confidence, my trust, and my belief in God. Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge God and he will direct your path. I want to trust God to give me everything I need with intentionality to say, these are the things I want to do this year. These are the things I want to get done. And this is a good time to hit reset. Drop it in the chat. Reset, because you get into the year and you get going and you're driven instead of driving. Life is in the driver's seat. Life is in the driver's seat. No. You want to be in the driver's seat, or you want God to be in the driver's seat, right? And you want to be empowered to say, so like full transparency, there's some things that I intended to start. Great ideas that I have not started, that I'm saying to myself right now, reset. I'm gonna get this done. I'm gonna do this, 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 and this. And there's some practical things that I wanna do to help people, a business I wanna build, or just some content I wanna create to inspire and uplift. I'm just going a long way to say to you, the victory is tied to the intentionality. And let me hit this other area in Habakkuk, and I'm gonna close this way. Verse 3 of Habakkuk 2 says, the vision is for an appointed time. It's just for, it's just for a season. It's a window. It opened. It's closing, right? There are expiration dates on visions that God gives us. Just like it's an expiration date on that milk, that meat, there's an expiration date on that vision. And so you want to make sure we can't see the day, right? Best used by, but we want to be aggressive, right? And if God shows it to you and gives it to you, and some of the stuff is just very practical, right? Like just drinking more water, right? It's the Nike style, just do it. And so I close like this. I hope you are gonna leave this moment saying, I'm reclaiming my time. Give me my time back. I'm gonna get it under my control. I'm gonna zero in on the vision for my time. I'm gonna fight the vultures of my time. I'm gonna know the value of my time, and I'm gonna get victory with my time. And this year, I'm gonna be rooted. I'm gonna fix what I need to fix, strengthen where I need to strengthen. And when I step out, when you see me, I'm gonna be flourishing, prospering.